Good morning and welcome back to my workbench. Are you looking for a Stihl MS250? This one's going to be up for sale after this video. I recently took this saw in on trade-in. The fella who traded it in wanted a saw that was a little bit bigger and a little bit easier to start. So he went home with an MS261 and I ended up with his Stihl MS250. So today, together, we're going to go through this saw completely. We're going to clean it and service it and get it ready for wood cutting. And at the end of this video, if you want to buy this saw, you can head over to eBay and put a bid in on it. Well, come on over here and let's get started. Well, here we are with a Stihl MS250 chainsaw and a hot, fresh coffee in a cup that one of my favorite viewers sent me. Life is definitely better with cats and chihuahuas. And there's Tyler over there working on Stihl zero turn. Looks like he's having fun. We'll just leave you alone. So he's over there working on RZ261 zero turn by Stihl, but made by Ferris for Stihl. That thing has about 25 hours on it. The drive belt is shredded. And I took his mic away from him because you don't want to hear what he has to say over there. I don't think YouTube would approve of those words. Let's just get back to minding our own business here. So this is an MS250 from 2018. This is a 45cc homeowner class clamshell design chainsaw. They've been making the 250 for a long time, and they still make them. You can go buy these brand new right now. They are a tough little saw, a little bit snotty to start sometimes, but overall, a good, dependable chainsaw. The fella that had this just couldn't pull it over. He needed something easier. So the saw he went home with is a 261, which has a decompression valve in the top, and it makes it much easier to start. So I don't think there's a lot wrong with this chainsaw, if anything wrong with it. So we're going to go through it, service it, look at everything, and then I'll sell this to one of you because I'm not collecting MS250s. So first things first, let's step outside with this and just see if we can get it to start. Meet me out there. That saw starts up and runs no problem. Let's get the bar and chain off this thing. I see we've got two different bar nuts. That's a Stihl bar nut, and that is not. And that washer's not supposed to be there. That looks to be a brand new chain or very close to it. Other than being dirty, I don't think we have anything wrong over here, but we will take all of this apart, inspect it, clean it, grease the bearing. The clutch drum is in good condition. This thing may not have a lot of use on it. If the guy had a hard time starting it, then he may not have used it a whole lot. The serial sticker is still in the front of it in perfect condition. So that right there tells you that this thing hasn't seen a lot of work, in my opinion. This thing might clean up like new. Let's dump that fuel out of there. That fuel has a strong smell to it. It's kind of foggy and murky looking. And I think I see water in the bottom. I'm going to pour this into a glass container. I'll let it sit, and then when it settles, we'll take a better look at it. The tank is clean inside. I can see the fuel line and fuel filter, and they are attached to each other. Let's just pull that fuel filter out of there. I've got my pressure vac tester hooked up to the end of this fuel line, and we're just testing to see if we hold 10 psi, which we do. I'll just leave that fuel filter off because I'm going to replace it with a new one anyway. So far, looking like a drama-free saw here. Pretty clean, barely used, I think. The air filter looks like new. The air filter cover's not even dirty. Summer winter shutter. And there is the Bosch spark plug, probably the original spark plug. That spark plug has a bit of a carbon buildup on it. I suspect that this saw would get started and then shut back down again, maybe never given a chance to warm up. If you have one branch to cut and you start your saw, cut your branch, and shut the saw down again, it'll never warm up. These saws are meant to run full out. Let me grab my camera and we'll take a look down the spark plug hole. You can see a carbon buildup on the piston that's been flaking off. The cylinder walls look excellent. This camera has a light on the end of it, and it does give quite a reflection, and it can make things that aren't there look like they're there. But it looks really good in here. This saw needs a good running. It'd be interesting to put a good mix in this thing and have somebody run it for a day and then look back in here and see if any of that carbon's gone. Let's do a compression test. And we have 155 pounds of compression. Not bad. I'm kind of curious, what does a brand new dry MS250 have for compression? Tyler, can you grab me a brand new MS250? Brand new MS250, 175 pounds of compression. So 155 on this saw, 175 on this saw. But you know, a compression test isn't actually part of the Stihl checklist. If I'm having a problem with a saw and I call Stihl, they don't ask me if I did a compression test. A compression test can vary wildly between saws. If I went and grabbed another new MS250, it would probably be a different number than this one gave us. That was just a little bit of experiment time with Erica. Let's go ahead and throw a new spark plug in this BPMR7A. And it is gapped properly right out of the box. There's the spark arrestor. Here's a look through the exhaust port. And that piston looks like brand new. Well, let's go a bit deeper into this thing. A couple 8mm nuts. And I'm going to pull that air filter holder off. You can see some dirt on that carb. I want to get this thing all cleaned up. Okay, fuel line is disconnected. And there's our carb off. A couple nuts. I'm putting this block on for two reasons. I want to clean this saw really well, and that just protects the intake hole. And I'm going to pressure vac test it. I already have the muffler off, so it's not really a big deal. And then whoever buys this saw knows that they are getting a tight little MS250. I'm going to use this exhaust block on this saw, but if you don't have a block, you can use your muffler as the block and then just slide a piece of rubber in behind it. There's a part number for that piece. This fits many different saws. That's why there's different holes in it. And this corner is ground off. I think this saw goes, no, the top holes. Yep, like that. And then I'm going to use a couple spacers on there. I got these from Stihl. I'll see if I can find a part number. Just like that. The exhaust is sealed off. The spark plug is in and tight. And the intake and the impulse are sealed. Pressure vac tester hooked up to the port. And my piston is at bottom dead center. And we're going to pull vacuum first. That saw does not have a vacuum leak. Let's go to pressure. And pressure looks good too. We have a tight little saw here. It's not that dirty, but we'll get this all cleaned up while we have it off. The cylinder is nice and clean. Just a little bit of dust in there. No big deal. The clutch looks good. Sometimes we take that cover off and there's so much stuff in here, it just comes out in a block, but you can see that there isn't much buildup in here at all. There's something about an MS250 that I just want to point out to you while we are looking in here. Zoom in. So you see where the intake meets the cylinder right there. So there isn't a clamp or anything. You know how in some saws there's an intake boot and there's a clamp that goes around that you tighten down? So there's no clamp on this one. I have seen an MS250 hold vacuum all day long, but have a small pressure leak, and the pressure leak is right here at this connection. Now this area never experiences pressure, so it's not really anything to be concerned about. You wouldn't want to have a vacuum leak there, but I have seen several times a pressure leak right there. But just something, if you're working on an MS250 and you find that, if you have a pressure leak, sometimes you might find it right there. It doesn't cause a running issue. The saw runs just fine, but I just went and dug around in my parts pile and I found this so I could explain this better. So here is the engine out of an MS250. So this white thing, that's what we're looking at in there. So it is actually what holds that intake boot on the cylinder. So if I just take that off, you'll see this intake boot is just pushed onto the cylinder. There's no clamp, there's nothing holding it together. Just this goes over it. In my experience, if you're doing a pressure test on an MS250, they often can't hold half a bar of pressure at this connection. They'll bleed down to about 0.4 of a bar. It doesn't affect how they run because, like I said earlier, when this saw is running, this area does not experience pressure, only vacuum. Thank goodness for part saws. And there's that factory sealant on this one. Okay, I think we are ready to go for some cleaning. I'm going to take the saw out and take the recoil and a few of my bits and pieces out, get this thing all cleaned up, and we'll see what it looks like after. It might shine up just like new. The chain catcher is broke off of this clutch cover. I gotta find another one to send with the saw. There's no point in sending you that. We're back in from cleaning, and here is the fuel sample that sat and settled. And you can see a bit of water in the bottom there. Well, this saw turned out pretty nice. It's a clean little thing. She's barely been used. So there's water in that fuel sample, which I don't like. If this was going to be my personal saw and there was water in the fuel like that, I would open up that carb and I would give it a freshening up with a new carb kit. So that's what we're going to do. So we are going to open it up and rebuild it. Brand new carb kit from Stihl. Let's get started. I already went and blew all of the external dirt off this thing. This thing looks clean inside. The screen is clean. I don't expect that we'll find any dirt in here, but I just want to give this a freshening up and make sure it leaves here in perfect condition. So there's a bit of dirt sitting on top of the metering diaphragm. Now, if you get enough dirt in here, this can affect the way this diaphragm works, and you could end up with a flooding condition. So I'm glad we took this apart, and we'll get this all cleaned up and put a brand new kit in it. We're going to check the height of the metering lever, ZAMA Carb C1Q. So we're going to use the flat side of this tool. And the metering lever is actually set a couple hairs too low. I'll go get my bits and pieces cleaned up here, and we'll get this thing back together. We are going to install an RB105. That's the carb kit for this carburetor. It may not be the carb kit for your carburetor, just depends on the numbers on your carb. So we have a C1Q S242D. So I clean this carb just using some fresh gas and light compressed air, no carb cleaner. So my new carb kit comes with everything brand new we need, except for the little screw that we'll reuse. New micro screen. The metering lever height is perfect. Spot on. And we're just testing for 10 PSI. No problem. Freshly rebuilt carburetor. I'm going to pull all my pressure vac tools off of this thing. There is a part number on them. 1124 893 7100. And throttle linkage. Choke linkage. I'll put the summer winter shutter on in the summer position. I blew that air filter out, but it's just like new. So we'll put it back on. This area has been all cleaned up. Everything looks good. Nothing's broken, nothing's missing. The clutch looks like new. The clutch springs are tight. I'll put some grease on that needle bearing. The clutch drum is in excellent condition. I've just cleaned it all up and I'll reinstall it. There's absolutely no play in that bearing or that clutch drum. Washer, clip. Put this back on first. Make sure everything is tight. Tight, 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 tight. I'm just checking the coil gap and making sure the coil is tight. Let's install a brand new fuel filter in this. There is bar oil in there, and it's very, very clean. If it was dirty, I would dump it out and flush the tank out, but there's nothing in there to flush out. But of course, before this sauce ships, I'll drain all the fuel and all the bar oil out of it. Well, I think our power head is done. Let's take it outside, fire it up, make sure all is good, and then I'm going to clean that bar and chain up, install it, and we'll cut some wood with this.
These MS250s never fail to impress me. The weight, the power, they work so good. I could use this saw all day. I wish they had 20-inch bars for them, but I haven't found one yet. That's a good working little saw there. For felling most of the trees on my property, which are 16 inches and under in diameter, this is perfect. Absolutely perfect little saw.
Well, I guess that's it for the MS250 that was traded in on something a little bit larger. We have went through this saw completely, a full service, a pressure vac test, and this thing runs and cuts excellent. If you notice that this bar looks a little bit different than the one I took off of it, after closer examination, I found one side, the rails on one side, to be more worn than the other side. So I found a better bar and put on it. So this is a good 18-inch bar. So if you are the lucky winner of this saw, you're going to receive this power head, this bar and chain, and I'm also going to send you a brand new spare chain for it, an extra spark plug, an extra fuel filter, an extra air filter, a Married with Small Engine sticker, one of those fuel line grabbers from Stihl that you see me use in all my videos, and a koozie for your beverage from Stihl. Oh, one more thing, just hold on. I'll throw this bar scabbard in the box as well. So there's everything you're going to receive if you are the winner of this MS250. I'm going to grab a box, and together we'll box this thing up. I'm going to drain all the fluids out of it, take the bar and chain off it, I'll blow all the dust off of it, and we'll get it packed up. Let's get started. Well, your Stihl MS250 is all boxed up and ready to ship. I don't know if you noticed, but I put a brand new clutch cover on it. The one I had on it was a little bit dingy and it just didn't look right. So if you are interested in this chainsaw, I will put the eBay link in the pinned comment and in the description box down below. You can click the link, it will take you right over to eBay, and you'll be able to bid if you want to. Well, I guess it's on to the next chainsaw for me. Thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you next time.